And he stepped out of bounds, so he's out. Give him a hand. Now we flip. Guys in black, and guys in white. Guys in black and guys in white. Same rules. Go. So we're promoting teamwork. If you watch their feet, they're accelerating, they're decelerating, they're working on pivoting, they're working on sprinting, they're working on teamwork. And freeze, you guys can just hold. Now, this would be something I would tweak as a coach. This space is too big for this to be as effective as it can be. Now remember, at DeMatha, my players are older than these guys, they're bigger than they are, and we have more players. Our team has 12 to 15 players, so it makes the drill better. So in order to make the drill more effective, you guys come over here, we're going to all stay in this quarter of the court. You cannot go on the line right here. So you guys all get in here. All get in here. It's going to be a much tighter fit. So you can't go here. This is the new out of bounds. So it's here, 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 and here. So it's nice and tight. Everyone understand? Stay in the game. Go. Work together. Work together. Talk, talk! Got it. Keep going. Work. It's okay. And time. These kids are doing great. Great. If you got two bunny rabbits, if you try and chase two bunny rabbits, what do you get? Nothing. You can't chase two things at one time. You got to focus. What I would want these guys to do, and they started to pick it up, which I really like, is they focused on one player, and the four of them worked together to get one player. Spencer mentioned it earlier as far as multitasking, that you're not really multitasking. You're doing one thing for a couple of seconds, and then you're completely doing something else for a couple of seconds. And the quicker that transition, the more we feel like we're multitasking. I'm driving and I'm texting. You know what? You're not. You're about to kill yourself, first of all. You're doing two separate things almost at the same time. Same thing with these guys. I want them working together. Focus on one kid and let's get him out of here. Focus on this kid, let's get him out of here. If they just start running around trying to chase everybody, nothing gets accomplished. Really well done, guys. Okay, we're going to do one now, and let's, we can stay, we're going to stay inside of the three-point line. So everybody's inside of the three-point line. I'm going to see if I can do a better job explaining this one. Well, for one or the other. Okay. You've got to stay inside the three-point line. All you're doing is passing to a teammate in your color shirt. And that will be one. Now, when you pass, you can't stand still. You need to sprint somewhere else. You need to go somewhere else. And your only rule is you cannot pass it back to him. So you've got three other guys that you can pass. Two other guys you can pass it to. And you guys are going to be doing the same thing at the same time. So you in white, you're going to have these guys in black, you ignore them. They're not even here. They're going to be here, but you're going to ignore them. I want to see which team gets 25 passes first. The ball is not to touch the ground. So we're no bounce passes. Everything stays in the air. If the ball touches the ground, you go back to zero. If you pass it to the person that passed you, you go back to zero. And you have to stay in the three-point line. Can you guys be my counters? Okay, so you're going to count the white passes, and you're going to count the black passes. And just yell when they get to 25. Does everyone understand the rules? Okay, we'll find out real quick. Go. Back, 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 back. Spread out. I'm going to get those, just yell out. 25! Oh! Wait. All right, wait, got it work. Easy. Now, DeMatha Catholic High School, where I work, our kids are 15 to 18 years old. We have unbelievably talented players. This will be the third NBA draft, the third in a row, where a DeMatha kid will get drafted in the NBA. We have super big-time players. These kids right now are 12 and 13 years old. They just picked up that drill quicker and better than the guys at DeMatha did. This is how smart these guys are. Did you notice how they divided themselves up so that there was nothing else in their way? You guys are really smart. Now, because you're smart, I have to challenge you. So now here's what we're going to do. We're going to only use this half of the circle. I'm going to put you all in a pile right here. So we're going here, and you have to stay inside of the circle. All the same rules apply, but now there's much more chaos right now. We've got a lot more chaos. We're going to have random people in your way. So now you've got to be able to, if you're about to pass to him, he steps in your way, you might have to move around. So you got to do whatever you got to do. Same thing. Whenever you're ready, go. Quick. Quick. And if they get this, I'm going to find another way to make it challenging. Stay down. Don't go outside the 3-point line. Inside the line. Inside the line. Inside the line. Quick. Quick. Inside the line. Start over. Hit the ground. That's how. Tap each other. Give these kids a hand. You want to make things as challenging, but of course as appropriate as possible. Safety is always the #1 concern. You would never, ever try to progress at the risk of safety. But these guys are crushing this drill. Now each team has 2 balls. So now it's going to make it a lot more difficult because you might have a ball coming in. So you got to really talk, you got to really think. You stay in this quarter of the court, and we're going to get to 25. 2 basketballs, all the rules still apply. Whenever you're ready. Sprint, sprint, sprint! Sprint! Now, and hold, hold, hold. This last version got a little bit off the wheels, right? Wasn't great. That's okay. That means I found the threshold that is challenging for these guys. That's a good thing. They did the first 2 versions about as perfectly as you can do it. So I found now what is challenging. What I was seeing now is everybody was standing upright. Everyone was passing. They weren't really cutting their movement because now they've got some anxiety that a ball is going to hit them in the face. They got a lot going on. Overstimulation. That's okay. So we've introduced a drill that's now at a challenging level for them, and that's something that we can work towards. And then we can always change the size of the court that we're working with. If we had more players, we could add another. Options are infinite what we can do. Really terrific job. Okay, let's keep a team in black right here. Team in white can go to that basket. Now we're going to work on some balance shooting drills. I already told you that balance, every single skill in the game of basketball decreases when a player is off balance. Every skill, especially shooting. And Drew has done a ton of job. He loves film. He breaks down film all the time. He does certain studies. He's done the 1-2 step versus the hop step. But the biggest thing that he found from what he's studying is balance is the #1 factor on whether the ball goes in or out of the basket. From what we can see. I'm sure Spencer would argue it's the mental side that determines more whether it's going in or out, and I would never argue that. But from what we can physically see, if you watch a player like Bradley Beal shoot and land on balance, the ball goes in the basket about 70–80% of the time. If he is off balance, even just by a little, shooting percentages go way down. So we want to start training our players to shoot from a position of balance. And in order to do that, we're going to take them out of their comfort zone and give them some very challenging positions. So going back to something I said earlier, what I'm going to do now is not game specific. These are not shots. If any one of these kids does a shot in the game, you yank their ass out and you put them on the bench. This is not to do in the game. This is to work on their ability to balance their body so that when they do shoot the right way, then they're on balance, both shooting and landing. And we'll go through a pretty rapid progression. You can determine the distance. And you guys are younger, so you might want to be a little bit closer. I'll let you determine the distance. First thing you're going to do, you're just going to balance on your right foot. You're going to hold your left knee up so it's higher than your waist. Count to 2, 1, 2, and shoot. I want you to be really slow. I don't want that. I want 1, 2, and then shoot. Take your time. Take your time. So left leg up. Go ahead. Just get in the line. One person at a time. You can go from wherever you want to go. I want your knee higher than your waist. So we're also strengthening their hip flexors. Knee higher than your waist. Hey guys, look. Knee up, up, up. Toes to nose. There you go. Thank you. standpoint, we're building some strength and some stability. We're working on balance. From a mechanical standpoint, that's where you guys as coaches can teach whatever you want to teach as far as your shooting, your form shooting, hand position, elbow, follow through. That's when you're doing what you guys do best, and we're trying to find a way to incorporate balance and athleticism into what we're doing. Dad, I'm going to pick on you again. So from a one-legged standpoint, what's something else we can do that would make this more challenging on one leg? Do you think of anything else? So what would make this harder? Anything? Yep. Is your name Annette too? Very nice to meet you, Annette. Very nice. Yeah, he said jump. So now we're going to add some movement to it. And he nailed it. He's right on the money. So we're here. We can go side to side and then stick the landing. So we can go side to side. Where else can we go? Front to back. We can tap the ball to the ground and shoot. Tap the ball to the ground. Infinite number of things we can do. So I'll let you guys pick. You can either tap and shoot, you can go side to side and shoot, or you can go front to back and shoot. Whatever you want, it's your world. Nice job. What's another one of the 6 primary movements of basketball we can do out of this stance? Hey guys, here's what we're going to do. I'll give you a couple options now. You can take it and you can lunge into a shot. You can reverse lunge. If you want, you can lateral lunge, and we'll still stick with one leg. So you can go forward, 1, 2, and hit. Whatever you want. Use your creativity and imagination. I always love giving players options. So I'm not just going to say do whatever you want to do. I'm going to say you can forward lunge, you can reverse lunge, and those are your 2 options. You can touch the ball to the ground, or you can hop left and right. So you give them some parameters to work in, and then they get to choose what to do. That way you're keeping some conformity to what you're doing, but they're also getting to have some ownership and deciding exactly which one they want to do. Now I will say this, you guys can hold for a second, and you guys know better, how many of you work with players about their age? Yeah, are your players normally this quiet also? Like, oh, it's not, okay. No, I mean, and I'm asking, they might be a little quiet because they've got 250 people watching them, some guy from the US that they've never met before who talks too fast in a different language. I can understand that. But we even find in the States, socially, because kids are so wired into technology, that they're talking less and less, and it's completely unacceptable from our end. I embrace technology. I love technology. There's not a person in this room or this country that tweets more than I do. I guarantee you I've tweeted while you guys are sitting here right now. I can almost promise you that. Don't ask how I did it. One of my tricks. But we have to get kids to talk. We have to get them to communicate. I want them speaking to each other. I want every kid on our team to feel the ownership as if they are an assistant coach. And again, they're not talking at their teammate, they're talking to their teammate. But they need to care enough about their teammate that if they see their teammate doing something wrong, they want to fix it. Because if I fix it, it makes him better. If he gets better, we get better. And that should be every kid's goal. And if you have kids on your team that put me before we, you got to think long and hard whether you want that person on your team or not. And at the youngest of ages, I'm not talking about kicking kids out for being selfish. We are all selfish inherently. As a human quality, we look out for ourselves before we look out for anyone else. So to rewire the DNA of kids and get them to put others before themselves is very, very challenging. But it's extremely important that we do that. So I would be requiring these guys right now to talk to each other. Great shot, Jimmy. Way to go. Way to keep your knee up. Or, Coach Stein said keep your knee up. You got to get your knee up higher. Because lots of times it will mean more coming from a peer than it comes from us. because they're tired of hearing us. We're talking all the time to them. It will mean so much more if a teammate cares enough to say something. All right, now we're going to do some two-foot work. So because the game, a lot of the game is played on one leg, but a good portion of our shooting, especially jump shooting, is going to be two. So right now what we'll do is some simple lateral rounds. So from here, you can jump either direction. I just want you to jump and then right into your shot. I want you to have some rhythm. I want you to have some bounce, almost like you're dancing. So rhythm is so important in shooting. So we're going to go boom, bang, boom. Boom, bang, boom. All right, let's rock. Yeah, now do a little rhythm. Shooting off 2 feet is a hell of a lot easier than shooting off one. Look how much more comfortable they feel. Why do they feel more comfortable? Because they have better balance. The reason we all were born with 2 legs is because we can balance better on 2 legs. So now they look so much more comfortable. And he just went front to back. That's great. That's great. He took some ownership to put a twist on it. I love it. Yeah, there you go.
Yeah.
Hey, you know what I like too about these kids? They're okay shooting a mid-range jump shot. If we were in America right now, you know where all of our kids would be? Outside the damn three-point line. And if they were their age, you know what their shot would look like? Because they're not strong enough to shoot from there. These kids are doing a nice job. They're shooting from an area that's still challenging to them, but where they can shoot. In the United States, we have an epidemic. Everything is either at the basket or it's a three-point line. There's nothing in between. And we really got to change that. Okay, this time, I just simply want you to put your back to the basket. Put your back to the basket, and we'll just go 180 degrees right to your shot. Go over either shoulder. 180 degrees, 2-foot jump, 2-foot landing. So we're not doing this. I want 2 feet up, 2 feet down. Boom, boom. All right, go ahead. Quick. Make sure you change which way you go. Sometimes you go right, sometimes you go left. Mix up where you are on the court. Now I told you, these shots are not game specific, right? They're movement specific. The next one we're going to do, you'll face the basket, we're going to go full 360 into your shot. Now, if you ever do that in a game, they're going to take you out. You'll never play again. So don't get the game, give me some of this. That's the trouble. We want to work on our body's ability to balance, and we're challenging you because there's nothing more disorienting than doing a full 360. This is as advanced as it gets for challenging their proprioceptive system and their ability to balance. So go on, pound and shot. And if you need to get a little closer, get closer. Whenever you're ready, go ahead. Nice job. Great shot. That's okay. That's okay. Notice too, I'm process-based right now. I'm not worried about makes or misses. I'm not worried about makes or misses right now. Of course, if I had a choice, I would prefer the ball to go in, because that's the name of the game, but the process is making sure they're using correct footwork, to making sure they're mechanically and technically doing this correctly. And of course, eventually, we'll make sure we're a little more stringent on the shot. There's a list of things, Breeze. There's a list of things that will kill any workout and will kill any practice. Very high at the top of this list, in fact, I'd almost argue this could be number 1, is boredom. If your players get bored, or if you get bored, there's no way that that's going to be a quality workout or a quality practice. Now that doesn't mean that we're out here, to juggle and do circus acts and be blindfold. We don't need to do a circus act. What we need, as I told you in the beginning, to find things that are challenging and stimulating and keeping the kids engaged. I found with our players that doing some of this balanced shooting, they prefer it over the old school, what all of us were taught, just our form shooting. We're going to do this for 20 minutes. If you are their age, and I know for some of you that was a long time ago, but if you were their age, what's more fun? Doing this for 20 minutes or doing this? Now, I'm not saying that you don't ever do form shooting. I'm just saying don't do it for 20 minutes. Do it for 2 and then continue to build. And if kids know that you're going to keep leading them down that path, you've got that carrot, you're going to keep leading them to something more fun, more challenging, they're going to stay engaged. I don't know these kids very well, but they seem pretty dialed in. They were really paying attention with what they were doing. Great job, guys. One more we'll do, and then we'll do our last balance shooting drill. We're going to do a 360-degree pivot. This one is really tough. So from here, we're going to pivot all the way around into our shot. We want to make sure we can use both feet, pivot all the way around into our shot. It's going to make you a little bit dizzy. All right, whenever you're ready. Nice. Okay, these kids are killing it. Now again, let's just use this as an example. We're going to take a step back and we're going to look at the purpose behind why we're doing this. Now hopefully it's clear to you guys, and I'll make sure it's clear to them. Are we doing this in case they ever get double teamed in the middle of a game? We're going to do this and shoot the ball? No, I sure hope not. That's not going to be good. Why are we doing it? Well, for one, anytime we do stuff on one leg, we're going to be challenging the neuromuscular system. We're working on improving mobility in the ankles and hips. We're strengthening a little bit of the hamstrings to an extent. So we're helping bulletproof their body one leg at a time. From a performance standpoint, pivoting is one of the 6 primary movements of basketball. So even though it would almost never happen where a player would pivot 360 degrees, we're still working on that. We're working on their ability to balance. We're working on their proprioception. We're working on their hand-eye coordination. But now that they've just gone visually 360 degrees, that basket's a little bit off. So we're working on things much bigger picture. So the purpose of why we're doing this are the things that I just listed. We're not doing this necessarily to make somebody a game shooter. Drew is going to show you the most purposeful stuff you need to get people to handle the ball better and shoot the ball better using actual offensive moves when you play. That's what he does. I'm trying, as if we're going to use, I'm trying to give him better clay to work with. I'm trying to give him folks to have the raw materials that then they can apply to those skills and do a better job. All right, I got one more drill. We've got 3 minutes to do it. You guys can come up here. Why don't we get in a single foul line? Why don't we go to the 3-point line, facing this way? You guys can do the same thing. Here's what we're going to do. We're going to go with a hop set first. So you're going to hop, but I want you to be ready to shoot even though you're not going to shoot. Hop, ready to shoot. Hop on the 3rd one. Then I want you to actually shoot. So it'll be 3 hops. Shoot on the 3rd one. But I want every time you're ready to shoot. So I don't want this. I don't want that. I want step. So 3 of them shoot the 3rd one. Go ahead. Under control. Yep. And you can go ahead and jump. Shoot your full jump shot on that 3rd one. Yep. So now we're progressively adding some movement to it. And I got to rip through this quick because I only got 2 minutes. This time, guys, here's the progression. This time you shoot on the 2nd one. Shoot on the 2nd one. 1, 2, now shoot. There you go. That one. So you guess the next progression. Shoot off 1 hop. Boom. There we go. Now I told you guys in the freeze, at DeMatha, Coach Jones prefers a 1-2 step. So let's do drill, but now we're going to aggressively attack it. 1, 2. Shot. 1, 2. Shot.